All right, welcome back. Live streaming because it's Monday, and Monday is the day I live stream. Even though I probably, if I were a little bit, wiser, would actually pick a specific time so people could be like, hey, I'm going to watch James live stream on Monday. Now, we'll tell you this I don't know what in the hell happened, but somehow your boy lost 900 subscribers in a day. So apparently, I've pissed some people off or something. I don't know. But, as is typical of me, I don't care. Hey, what's up, Big Vic? How you doing, bro? I mean, maybe that's the problem is my lack of caring. But I was looking at my thing and I was like, wait a minute, you know? I mean, it had been going down a little bit since I deleted all my videos, but I didn't really think that much about it. I was like, okay, I'm losing a couple subscribers here and there. And that's what it is. Afternoon. Uh, but then today it was like, boom. I'm like, okay. Is DM James's channel going to end up like one of those dead channels everybody talks about on the internet? No. And the reason is because I don't think I'll ever not be here bullshitting around about things. I think that I'm surprised I ever broke 1,000 anyway, just based on my attitudes and stuff like that. Like if I wanted to be an XP to level 3 guy, I would be on here talking about how wonderful Wizards of the Coast is and stuff like that. Pulsar Productions, likely the bloody algorithm, could be. I do know that I got a strike a while back, but it's going away January 3rd. It wasn't a strike, it was like a warning strike. And I do know that some of my opinions regarding society and things that are going on in the modern day are not popular. So, I mean, if enough people were to get together and like brigade my channel, they could probably get it, honestly, which would just cause me to move to Rumble. Hey, James Lowry, what is up? Man Shorts gave up their YouTube channel. Likely with Man Shorts. Oh, at the store, buddy. Well, hurry up and get home. There was a link. Did it not go through? I thought I put a link up. Isn't that the link, or am I doing something else wrong? But yeah, the algorithm likes certain things, and if you don't do those certain things, then you get to deal with it. And you know what? Fine, whatever. I kind of I kind of like my role. You know what I mean? Hey Satya. It's like I'm just the average guy that logs on and BS's around about whatever I'm happen to be interested in. And I'm okay with that. And if there's a group of people that wants to hang out with me for an hour or two and talk about whatever, that's cool. But to quote Smokey from Friday, they'll say shut up and I'll shut up. But when they go away, I'll be talking again. How you doing, Vic? Howard?
What's up? Well, Curse of the deck of curses is live.
Well,
So if anybody wants to go
I'll
up
have
there
to
and check
check
it out,
that out.
they can check it out on Quick Trip or Kickstarter. I mean,
I'll have to check that out. Look at this. I tell you what, there's a lot of creatives that show up on the channel. Like, I have never been like able to get any of the really big names like Kuntz or anything, but it's like most of the guys that hang out on my channel have made things for the games. And I mean things other than, adventures about going to the prom or some shit. So, that's
I find adventures to the prom. I don't want to call it problematic, but really juvenile. You know what I'm saying?
well, yeah, but it's like, how that one guy said,
what? You didn't go to the prom, so now you got to make up a story you're going to the prom? They had this thing too up here in Minnesota where they did a D&D prom night. Some company put it on, and I'm just like, really?
yeah, I think, the guy that said, D&D is no longer white guys, blah, blah, blah. And now Double D shows all the white guys walking into Gen Con. But, and this is not an attack on my bro Double D at all, we don't know what all those white guys were at Gen Con for. They might have all been shown up to play OSR games or Call of Cthulhu.
They could have been there. Well, I know a guy that goes every year, and he's a buyer. He purposely goes to go through the halls and buy stuff from each manufacturer. That's his go-to place to buy. You know what I mean? He puts in his big orders and says, I want this, this, and this, and this. And because he knows he's going to talk directly to a WOTC rep or a Pathfinder rep.
Maybe he'll talk to Sandy Peterson and get all those cool Call of Cthulhu figures at a discount.
Right. And that's why, and he brings cash too. I mean, it's just part of the game. You bring the cash, and you've got the checkbook, and you're writing checks and grabbing stuff as much as you can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But like again, not to go after a Double D. I don't want anybody to think I'm sitting here talking shit about my homie. But how do we know those white guys were there to play 5e? Because Gen Con has like tons of games.
Oh, more than tons.
Like every one of those white dudes could have been shown up with an Adventure Conquer King players book in their backpack or Old School Essentials, like the couple of purple haired people that showed up, they might have been the only ones there to play 5e.
I don't know. I've never been to Gen Con. Don't think I'll ever go unless unless I hit on something that a game that I can create that's going to compete against, as well as Castles and Crusades or something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I write something that's that good.
I went to Gen Con when Gen Con was still in Lake Geneva.
Sure.
So I've never been to Gen Con since it moved to Indiana. Indiana, not Minneapolis. And when I used to go to Gen Con, it wasn't hugely. I only went one time, but it wasn't hugely big. You know what I mean? It was like, it was big, but it wasn't like 10,000 people big. But that was when I went to Gen Con, like the Fiend Folio was the newest book out or some shit. Like, so we're talking way back in the day. And it was a lot of fun. I met Gary Gygax for 5 minutes. He autographed my Fiend Folio, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, since that whole book was written by British people. he just was in charge of the company, but he didn't actually do anything there. And I played a lot of cool pickup games of AD&D, because that was kind of all there really was. I mean, there were other games, but let's be honest, like 16, 17-year-old James was there to play some D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to play a bunch of D&D with a bunch of people I'd never met, none of whom I really remember their names, because none of them were famous. It was just guys that were there at tables, and you bought, like when you bought your thing to go to Gen Con, you got to pick games you could join. And sometimes it costs extra money or not, you know what I mean? But you signed up for games. And so I was just, every morning I'd wake up and look at the schedule and be like, I got a game, lunch, a game, dinner, a game. I was just nonstop, table to table. And it was for me and my buddy Marcus, it was like the best, it was like the best.
Well, see, that's sort of like why I've lost the allure of going to GaryCon. I mean, every time I go there, it's sure I get into some games I want, but it's like, I mean, most of the time you're walking around and it's just, I don't know. It just I lost my enthusiasm to go to GaryCon, and I loved going the years that I went, but it just, it's just like.
Now, GaryCon, is that the one that Luke does, or the one that Ernie?
Yeah, that's the one Luke does.
Okay. Yeah, I talked some shit about Luke, and then I saw him, and I was like, ugh, I don't think I'd want to talk too much shit about that dude.
Luke's a nice guy.
Biceps are like yay big around. I was like, oh man, that guy gets me in a headlock, I'm going to die. Right. Plus, he used to be an officer in the Army. I mean, not anything combat related, but I respect that. Yeah. I'm still kind of upset about the fact that he won't defend his family. Like me, if somebody's talking shit about my pops, I'm throwing bones. Somebody's getting their ass whipped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I guess it's different when you're in the business world, as opposed to just being some guy.
Luke, I think Luke behind closed doors, probably he's just I mean he's just chomping at the bit. But he's got to maintain that facade, I like to call it, as very neutral or going with the flow. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, Ernie, I've watched interviews with Ernie. I always liked Ernie. Ernie always seemed like a cool, kind of down-to-earth guy. He is just saying whatever, and it was like
Ernie won't say anything online anymore, hardly, but get him in person and he's opinionated. He'll just lay it out there for you. Hey, look at D&D is on here.
Diversity and drag. Oh, see, he must have heard me mention his name. Luke is a nice guy, but afraid to defend his dad. Diversity, I was saying, Double D, that what if all the white guys that you filmed from the convention weren't actually there to play D&D, though? What if they were all there to play like OSR games or Call of Cthulhu and shit? And the only people who were there to play D&D were like the fat purple-haired people. Like maybe Wizikos is right. Maybe white people don't play their game anymore. Maybe straight white dudes are like, I'll play Axe, or I'll play One Ring, or I'll play, Castles and Crusades, or Dragon Slayer, or you know what I mean? They could be right for all we know. I mean, because we don't know where all those white dudes were going. So
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We can't know what they were there for. I mean, a lot of those dudes could have been showing up specifically because they wanted to see Sandy Peterson or something. like I said, and buy some of those Cthulhu Wars miniatures for cheap.
Oh, like I said, my friend that owns a store, he goes in there and he would buy, he'd go to a booth and he'd be like, I'll buy the rest of your stock. You know what I mean? I'll buy all this for my store. And he'll leave there with a van full of stuff, then they don't have to pack it out. So
nice.
Just one of those
things. He
things.
doesn't have to pay shipping because he got to go.
Right.
Yeah, they do, Satya. And after they get rid of the straight white dudes, believe me, they're going to go after the straight white women. I mean, straight white dudes are always the easy target, but if you look at the way things tend to play out, if they can get rid of the straight white dudes, then they go for the straight white women, which is only fair since most straight white women, or a lot of straight white women, are on board with attacking the straight white dudes until it's their turn to take the heat. A lot of people online, Pulsar, are saying that they are not upgrading from 5e to the 6e. They're not doing it. So,
well, look at how much money you spend. I mean, how much money are these books now? $50, something like that.
That's if you get the print books, because they want you to buy the PDFs. And the negative with buying PDFs from Wizard of the Coast is they can change the PDF anytime they want. So you can buy a PDF book from them for their online bullshit, and they can go in and just change it. They don't got to ask your permission or nothing. So technically, you kind of don't even own it. Which to me is an issue. And it's an issue with a lot of things. It's like gaming. I remember when you bought a game, it came in a box. There were discs. There was maybe a little spin code in Elvish that you had to it'd be like you had to put the code in, and then you played your D&D game, but you owned the game. It was your game. No one could ever take it away.
Are you telling me that they're going to do an online PDF so they can change the rules midstream or something like that? Is that what you're saying? Or is it's not going to be downloadable?
Yeah, the new D&D is going to be as online as possible. And that's why they're working so hard on the adventure builder thing, where you can make dungeons online and run people through it. And so, yeah, and of course, I heard this from Dungeon Professor, but DP is generally pretty on base most of the time. They're looking for a subscription model. So if you want to play the 2024 version, 6th edition, I call it, just to piss some people off, they're kind of wanting an online subscription, which will give you access to all the online books that you bought, and also the online Dungeon Maker bullshit, which then will. But the problem with all that will be, like, if ever at some point you decide, I don't want to play online D&D anymore, and you end your subscription, well, then you lose a lot of the stuff you had. It's just
and that bugs the crap out of me when they started doing that for certain games, online games. I was like, I don't get no disc. I don't get nothing to reload it in my computer. I don't get to save anything. And if one little twerp somewhere gets disgusted at something I said, then they send it in a file, a complaint against me, and they have 5 of their little buddies do it, and then all of a sudden I lose all my game material, everything, because some wonk at a place in India or wherever says, oh, he's got too many violations. Click delete. I mean, it's like, no. I'm sorry. I don't subscribe to that model.
Well, and that's exactly what I was saying about, like, I personally am a huge fan of the old SSI games. I still play Polar Radiance on occasion, even though I've beat it like 100 times. I got it off of GOG, so all the games that nobody supports anymore. And it's like I recently heard, I think from Hungar, honestly, but it might have been someone else I talked to, that Steam has changed their user rules to where you don't own anything on Steam. When you buy it and they put it in your library, you're basically paying to access the game, but you don't own the game. And that means if you piss them off at any time, they can choose to go ahead and take all your shit away. So if you're someone like me that's got like a score of like 19 or 20 or something, which is pretty high, and like, 50 titles, they can wake up one day and just be mad at something I said, and boom, I'm done. I'm gone. You know what I mean? Just that quick. And it's like, well, most people like online D&D Beyond as Double seven. Oh boy, look at this guy. All right. No, most people, don't say most people, because you don't know what most people like. Nobody knows what most people like. There's no way to even know that.
Hey, Bubba, yeah, that's exactly. It's a lease or a rental, just sort of like you're going to what was it, Blockbuster Video,
Monday DM has the physical copy. Yeah, 5e is not too bad if you play with just the 3 core first books. It's just everything after that sucks. The character generator, I'll give you that. Oh boy, I'll give you that. The character generator, when I played 5e for that year and a half or so, the character generator was nice. Especially because I switched over to 4E Essentials pretty quick. And then went to 5e after 4E Essentials. And, character creator's nice, but you know what? There's tons of them online. Like, if I want to there's character creators for Old School Essentials Advanced. There's character creators for basically any game you can think of. Traveler, 2300. So the fact that D&D has a character creator isn't that big of a deal to me. I play online because it's my only choice. And if it were my only choice, that's what I would do too. But I'm lucky. Orlando is full of gamers who are just looking for anybody to run anything. So,
I'm going to hold you to that, James. I'm going to hold you to that. When I move down there, I'm going to be like, no, James has got to come over.
Right? Well, if I'm still down here, by the time you get down here, yeah. But, oh, yeah, you can go like to any of the Cosima Comics or whatever and be like, I'm going to run a game, and you can fill a table like that. But maybe it's just because, one, it's hot as shit out, so people generally look for inside hobbies. Mm-hmm. And two, Metro Orange County, Orlando is well over 1 million people. We have, just in Orlando, we have like 7 or 8 game stores that are actively devoted to, selling D&D, miniatures, whatever, what I mean? 40K. So yeah. Spoiled for choice is what we are in Orlando. Spoiled for choice. See, you like Tasha's and Xanathars? God, man. Tasha's is when I decided 5e was no longer for me. Clockwork or Divine Soul. See, I mean, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, because if you think those things are awesome, well, good for you. But I don't care for them. Plus, when I ran 5e, I did not allow any of the optional rules. There were no like feats. There was no multi-classing, none of that shit. I ran straight 5e, no optional rules. And my group loved it, actually. They thought it was a lot of fun like that. Yeah, right. So if only 1% of the people in my area played D&D, that's still 10,000 people. Which is why when like Garrity was complaining about, you know how hard it is to get 5 people together, and I'm like, no, I don't. I get 8 to 10 every week. You know.
Here's another thing: is that all us old grognards are moving down to Florida and Arizona and stuff like that from up north, and it's like, hey, we're getting into our old hobbies again. It's like, yeah, let's go try this. Let's go have some fun. So
see, I mean, bro, Divine Soul Rocks, being able to play a devil worshipping pact sorcerer is badass. See, that's a modern thing. Oh boy, you have to remember when I started playing D&D, and for like the first 20 or 30 years, a devil worshipping pact sorcerer would be a kill on sight NPC. It wouldn't be a player character. It would be someone that your players would be literally out to kill. So basically, you're arguing that you like 5e because 5e lets you play the bad guy, you know, which is not very heroic. I mean, there's nothing heroic about being a devil worshipping magic user that runs around doing horrible shit. That's not heroic. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. Maybe rebellious. Maybe it's like appealing to like young people who are still in that rebellious stage. But, you know, in about 5 or 10 years, you'll realize that everything you thought you knew, yeah, still is in my game too.
Hey, Bubba, they've been plugging me to run another table on the opposite weekends. I run it now, and I'm just like, how many games do I have to run to keep people happy? You know what I mean? It's like, do I want to run 2 in-person games, 8 hours each every Saturday? You know what I mean? Do I want to run an in-person game for 8 hours each every Saturday? So I'm like, I'd rather play. I wish I could find a place I can play. Like I go up to David Wesley's and play, but you know, finding another DM that's going to do something on the opposite weekend I do things, it's sort of hard. So
well, players are selfish.
I know it.
Yeah, even as a PC, it can still be a kill on sight character. Because I'm telling you, if that guy rolled into any town in Greyhawk that wasn't in the Pamarge or the Empire of Ayuz, you're just going to get killed. As soon as you roll in and you're like, oh, I worship, name whichever demon, like the town guard is going to string you up on the spot.
I love it when my players are like, okay, we set out the map, they put all their places in, and one of the players says, I'm going to do a spell. Okay, and you go back around the table. What spell are you going to use? Detect evil. And one of my players always runs for it. It's like, no, I don't want to be anywhere near this. Because I'm the only one that knows everybody's alignment. You know what I mean? So
I have to admit that I am personally not a huge fan of the detect evil ability. Because I mean, I think it makes it where, like, if you got a paladin in the group when you're playing Keep on the Borderland, all you got to do is roll in and be like, detect evil, and all of a sudden you got the cleric right on the spot. You know what I mean? The cleric that's in the keep waiting to try and join your group to betray you.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of takes away. R.A. Salvatore, I have read R.A. Salvatore, but only the Dritz Jordan books, nothing past that. R.A. Salvatore is a fine writer, but he's no J.R.R. Tolkien or R.E. Howard or H.P. Lovecraft. So while I get what you're saying, and I'm not going to tell you your preferences are, no, I guess I am telling you your preferences are wrong. Lawful evil, I like. I'm okay with lawful evil if the idea is to use the law to enrich yourself and you've got a code of ethics, but it's kind of messed up, you know. So
That's lawful neutral to me. I think politicians are lawful neutral mainly. You know,
they are whatever a sociopath would be.
well,
So I don't know what a sociopath would be, since a lot of sociopaths are people pleasers, but not really, but they at least pretend to be, you know. I mean, neutral evil, that's like a serial killer or something. You know, that's somebody that's like, I want to do evil shit just for the sake of being evil. Yeah, but worshiping devils is always bad. You know, it's like modern D&D is trying to change things to where worshiping devils can end up in a good way, but it should never end good. The devils are always trying to screw you over. And any contract you make with the devil should be horrible. And if you're playing a warlock and you've got a pact with like Asmodeus or some shit, or a pact with one of the major demons, at what point does the DM just tell you point blank that if you want to keep using your warlock powers, you have to sacrifice children to him? I mean, if it's Moloch, that would be just dead on, because, you know, child sacrifice is Moloch's thing. But I mean, you know,
you also got
see, okay,
does 5e even have devils and demons in it?
It does. But Asmodeus, instead of being the Lord of Hell, is literally a deity. Not only a deity, but a greater god.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's like they if there was like, you know how in the 80s we lived through the satanic panic, and it was like, well, modern D&D probably deserves a satanic panic, because they do everything they can to make the evil beings not evil. You know what I mean? And then the good beings are not good. It's like they're flipping it. You know what I mean? So you can have a party where somebody's playing a half demon who is bound spiritually to a greater demon, and they're the adventurer. And it's like, you know, back in Greyhawk, that was called a Cambion, and you hunted them down and killed them.
Yep.
You know, but in modern D&D, that's yeah. Well, I mean, that just goes to show how, and I'm speaking to Jose here, that just goes to show how corrupt, you know, the entertainment industry is. Tricked his way into divinity. That depends, though. Asmodeus also may not exist. And at the deepest part of the bottom of the 9 hells, there's a gigantic serpent monster thing that actually rules all of hell, and Asmodeus is just like a puppet of that thing. Yeah, I know the lore. But if you are somehow bound to a demon or a devil, you're automatically not going to be a good character that anyone would want to be around, because you're always going to do shady ass shit. You would be untrustworthy as hell. So, yeah. I mean, way back in the day, every now and then we might play an evil campaign, just whatever. But it always ended up with all the players murdering each other, because, you know, they're evil. That's what you do. But, I mean, even Gygax showed that with Vecna's right-hand man trying to assassinate Vecna. I don't think you understand what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is devils are not written as evil. Therefore, you can absolutely play a character that worships Asmodeus and supposedly no one's going to blink an eye in the Forgotten Realms? That's crazy. Cass was framed, right? First vampire, wasn't he? See, my take on lawful evil, and if we're going to get into alignments, it could get crazy, is lawful evil is like the lawyer that's willing to twist the word of the law to benefit themselves, regardless of how it affects anyone else. So a lawful evil character would maybe support slavery if slavery benefited them, or they may, do all kinds of shit, but they're always going to maintain within the law of their society, but they're going to try and corrupt it to benefit themselves. Hey, Mobius, how you doing, bro?
But then we got to get down to the fact, okay? Then we go to the fact was what was James Bond? Was he lawful neutral? Was he lawful evil? Was he evil at all? Because we're talking state-sponsored
neutral.
It's state-sponsored soldier, as far as I was concerned. You
lawful
know what I mean?
Neutral.
Lawful neutral is always what I said. Is that he was told what to go do and he did it. You know what I mean? So
there were vampires before Cass. I didn't know that. Drells, not etc.
Wasn't there Eastern vampires too? Wasn't there Eastern vampires inside the Monster Manual?
If you hear something in the background over here, it's probably my Roomba running around the house. It's got it into its head that needs to run around for 5 hours a day. I don't know. I don't program it. It's on my wife's phone, so. And we're going to have guests later tonight, so getting this out of the way. But do vampires eat ketchup? No.
Only before they suck your blood, Jose. Only before they suck your own blood, Jose.
Like they run up and grab you and twist your head down so they got your neck and then some Heinz 50s at it. No, if anyone has ever watched South Park, they would know that vampires drink Clamato.
Yeah.
A vegetarian vampire.
I can't catch up myself.
See, when we play Vampire the Masquerade, which we do play every other year or so for about a year, vampires that we call vegetarians are just the vampires that refuse to eat humans. So they feed on rats and shit like that. And most normal vampires in society look down on them like they're douchebags. What the hell's wrong with you, But, Count Chocula, baby. That's one of the best marketing moves the Cam ever did. Don't worry about vampires. They're actually kind of friendly. Eat the cereal. What's funny is in the Vampire the Eternal Struggle card game, there is a relatively powerful Malkavian named Bela, and it's Bela Lugosi. But he's a Malkavian. Apparently, after he did the movies, he ended up getting embraced by Malkavians. So Bela Lugosi is. Serial killers. Oh boy, whatever you may have done might actually, and I know this is a weird concept for a lot of people to grasp, but what if you were the ones that were in the extreme fringe and everyone else was the majority? I know a lot of people have a hard time thinking that, but sometimes you're not the majority, even though you think you are. And mixed parties, yeah, I mean, you might have a freaking chaotic neutral, which I hate that alignment, person, and a lawful good person, a lawful neutral person. But you would probably never have a lawful good person and a chaotic evil person in the same group, because they would just be freaking, it would just be game on the first time the paladin figured out. You played too many tables, bud. You called me an old man and said that you were a young guy in comments. So how many tables do you think you played? Like literally in the comments, you said I was obviously just an old man.
I'm older than you, James.
I know, but I love this. This guy, Lore says mixed party. Kelemvor, Midnight, Cirque. Cirque was not originally evil. Cirque was corrupted. In the beginning, he was not chaotic evil, dude. I read all those books, the God War and everything. Cirque got corrupted. Well, you said I was old, so I assumed you were young. Because, I mean, if you call somebody old, then it means you're young, right? I mean, why would an older person call another person old? That's crazy. Oh, green stuff sticking to my cup. Cirque is chaotic evil. That doesn't mean he always was chaotic evil. That's what I'm telling you. Meanwhile, the three gods they got rid of were evil. Bane was a evil warrior, and Merkul was an evil wizard, and their mask was an assassin. I fart dust. Old thinking. See, that's where you're going to have a problem with me, oh boy, because I am extremely turned off by new thinking. New thinking doesn't tend to be good, and the old ways seem to be the best ways. Now, if you're going to disagree with that, then we're going to be at an impasse that cannot be fixed by anything under the sun. But no, I'm extremely orthodox. I do not believe in new innovations at all. They are not good most of the time. Right. Don't F with Bane. He is scary. Yeah, he is. All right. But you can also have an evil thief in an otherwise neutral party. Right, you could. But that would be the guy everyone else is weary about. Well, that would be the guy like in the old AD&D book where they go to the dungeon, the thief hangs back and makes sure not to get hurt, and he saves up enough of his power so that he's doing good. And then the second all the other characters are all effed up, he murders them, takes all of the treasure and leaves. And then all the other players are pissed off. But you know what? The thief did exactly what he probably would have done.
Yeah, I don't get that. A thief is going to do what he's going to do. Now, if you catch him, you know what I mean? Send me a note. A thief sends me a note. I got one guy in our party who stole $20K worth of stuff. I mean, right out from underneath the nose of everybody. Nobody was watching him.
Hey, not your echo, Privia. The title is just because I am pretty much obsessed with the band Artemis. I've been listening to a lot of their stuff. I watched one of their concerts live the other day on YouTube, and their most popular song is I Like the Way You Kiss Me, which is kind of like goth industrial, but a little poppy also. So me being the old school goth guy that's still kind of into that stuff, I absolutely love that. If you push the red button, that could be lawful neutral or lawful evil or evil sociopath. It depends. Like, are you the one being the aggressor? Are you the one that's like, or are you doing it out of defense? If you're doing it defensively, then I mean, playable races limited to humans, elves, dwarves, halflings, half elves, half orcs, gnomes. I agree. The only race I would disagree with you on, Death Angel Shadow, and by the way, how you doing, homie? I hope everything's cool up there in Tennessee, is I don't particularly care for halflings. I do, however, like gnomes a lot. Chaotic neutral is the worst alignment. When a player sits down at my table and I'm running like old school D&D and they're like, I'm chaotic neutral, I just want to do like a freaking flying jumping sidekick right into their head. Because it's like when a character says I'm chaotic neutral, what they're really saying is they're chaotic evil, but they're going to pretend to be neutral. But they're going to do a bunch of evil shit. And you already know it, you already know it. It's like, which is why in my games, I usually don't even use the whole, usually I use just good, evil, unaligned. And that's what your character is. And there's a lot of leeway because sometimes a good guy will do something that's not good because they have to. It's just a situation, And like,
okay, Double D, what's chaotic stupid to you? I want to know what chaotic stupid to Double D is.
Chaotic neutral.
What? I love playing that.
It's the worst alignment. Like I just said, as soon as somebody sits down at the table with a chaotic neutral character, they're going to be a problem.
That's me. That is me as a player. I want my dungeon masters to go. I want them to turn their head, look at me, and go, I know he's going to do something. I just don't know what.
As soon as they sit down, you're just like,
unpredictability is the best part of Dungeons and Dragons.
As soon as they sit down, you're like, this person is going to be an ass. They're going to do all the most evil shit.
It's just unpredictable.
It's going to be a problem. Everybody knows it. But then when you call them out and say, hey, what you're doing is pretty freaking evil, they're going to be like, well, I'm neutral. And you're going to be like, yeah, but what was neutral about robbing the old lady that was crossing the street? Well,
See, I don't do that kind of stuff. I do stuff like, oh, well, I'm going to slam the door on these guys that are going to go into this room because I know what's going to happen. They're going to trip off a trap that's going to kill everybody. So I'll slam the door and, well, if they blow up, hey, okay, I'll give them a minute or two to trip the trap. And if they don't, I'll open the door back up and I'll go back in there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, Double D wants to come in.
I'll let him know. He's the homie. He gets to come in. Not always. Of course, not always. Of course, not always. You assume people play alignments and wreck the party. I play one evil character in a party in Tyranny of Dragons, and we have no issues because lawful evil isn't dumb evil. Yeah, but it's still evil, which means ultimately you will F over your party members if it benefits you in any way. So
I had a monk screw my party up. I mean, a lawful evil monk or a lawful neutral monk screw the party over really bad one day because we had this person in the party and then he's like, oh, there's a reward for this person. I gotta go turn him in. I was like, oh, great. We're gonna screw this party up completely. Hey, Les.
Hi.
I got my
See, the
Kickstarter
problem
up.
is that guy got caught. It's not
Well,
the
like 007, I mean, again, we're arguing alignment, which if you got 10 D&D players in a room and asked them to write down their thoughts on alignment, you would get 25 answers.
Of
yeah.
And they would all be different. See, I don't like neutral. I like unaligned. Basically, your character doesn't care very much either way. You're like, so 90% of humans that aren't adventurers would probably be unaligned.
Unaligned.
Yeah, they go to work, they come home, they pay their bills, they love their wife. They may or may not help an old lady if she's getting mugged in the street. You know, it just all depends on how it's going to affect them. Whereas a good character is going to help. And an evil character, he's going to be the one mugging the old lady. So, see, in my games, alignment is very, very almost binary. It's like you're good, you're evil, or you're just whatever. You just said lawful evil will screw their party over. They will, unless the party's also lawful evil and they all have some sort of pact or agreement or whatever. That's the lawful part. Like if you have a group of people, let's say they all serve Hexter, who is one of my favorite gods from Greyhawk. They're not going to screw each other over because they're going to have a hierarchy and they're just going to do whatever they do to promote their code or ethos, even though that code or ethos might be something like the strong should always crush the weak and you should always enslave your enemies. And it's okay to beat women as long as you don't use a stick bigger than your thumb or some shit like that.
I'll stick with Erroneous. I like Erroneous better.
Well, that's Hexter's brother.
I know. But he's the honorable one.
Yeah, I agree with that, oh boy. There's the thing we agree on. Chaotic evil is just selfish. That is how you would, but chaotic anything is selfish. It's just a matter of are you selfish enough that you're willing to murder an old lady for her loaf of bread? Or are you selfish, but generally you don't mess with people, but you're still, all about yourself? So I guess chaotic good or chaotic neutral or chaotic evil could all be somewhat narcissistic, even though I think that's an overused term.
What if chaotic good was actually meaning that you try to do good, but everything you do to do good actually backfires?
Well, then that would be the DM is just effing with you for unknown reasons. Yeah, stupid hurts self. That would be like chaotic evil is more than willing to cut their nose off to spite their face. And yes, lawful evil. I would say most attorneys are lawful evil. How you doing, Double D?
I would say chaotic evil is just pure greed. You're just no, it's all for me and that's it. I don't care what anybody says,
Right.
Gordon Gekko.
Yeah.
There's the double D.
Double D.
Hey.
But maybe his mic isn't working yet. But yeah, lawful evil would be like attorneys. The lawyer that's willing to bend the law and do anything they can to get the murderer off of whatever.
Attorneys and bureaucrats.
Bureaucrats.
Oh, there's a special place in hell for bureaucrats.
You're technically correct, which is the best kind of correct.
There is no, I forget what movie it was or book, but they said there's no tyrant worse than a petty tyrant. Like the guy at the DMV that has no actual real world power except for the one thing he does. And so he's an absolute dick about it because it's the only power he has in life. Well, I mean, all humans are a little selfish. That's why we survived and didn't get ate by, murder birds and shit like that back in the old days. If we were all a little selfish, but part of our selfishness was taking care of our family and our tribe so that they could take care of us.
Yeah, there's a reason we didn't die to those things that we called dragons.
Yeah, which were called dragons up until like the 1800s when some German guy renamed them dinosaurs.
I know.
But there's a whole, I think it's in one of the basic D&D books where it shows like the thief murders his whole party and takes all the gold because they're all like at one hit point.
Here's the thing, actually. I think politicians are actually neutral evil. If you want to go by old school D&D talk.
Yeah, but like I said, as much as I like old school D&D, I've never been in love with old school alignments.
Yeah, fair.
Because it's like it's a level of complexity that you really don't need. When you meet people, they're either unaligned, which means they're basically just doing whatever. They're evil or they're good. And good, of course, is always going to be
we already
lawful.
said bureaucratic is a lawful evil.
Is there a bureaucratic alignment? There should be. There absolutely should be. Now in Taoslanta, they have their alignments are based on culture. So
wouldn't you
if
say
you are a true believer,
James, wouldn't you say it's based that orcs are the same way? It's based on their culture. It's just that all orcs are evil. You know what I mean?
No, I'm talking about player characters.
Oh, well.
So if you're a Silmarillion wizard and you choose that you're a true believer, then it just means that you believe in all the tenets of your culture and the gods of your culture. But you can also be a reprobate. Basically, you can be a rebel. You can be like, you know what I mean? And all that means is how you react to like cultural norms.
I think Double D's here now.
Is he here?
I hear something at least.
I'm here.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
I'm using an old mic.
Yep. I'm making characters that you would think would be for 5th edition Tasha's players, but are actually for Taoslanta. So of course I gotta have a purple-haired muse because at James, define how a bureaucratic wizard would work. Jesus. I would think most wizards would be in a way bureaucratic since they go to school to learn.
Yeah, and here's the thing: all you have to do is just make their book into a law book. Laws of magic.
Right. See, oh boy, does ask a decent question here about not everyone wants to be the good guy, which I do. They want to question morality. And you know what I would say to you, oh boy? Stop playing D&D.
Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, in RuneQuest, you don't even have
like morality. Play Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade. RuneQuest, you could possibly do it. I mean, there is no alignment in that.
Yeah, but fantasy games do not lend themselves well to deep questions on moral issues.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, that's true.
But you play Vampire the Masquerade, and all of a sudden your character has to make up his mind like, do I eat people? Do I not eat people? Do I betray this guy or that guy? Am I basically good or not at all good? And there's no alignment. So it's on you. You explore your character's goals. And they can be as twisted and effed up as you want them to be. Or they could be, you can try to play that character from like Forever Night that's trying to be a good guy, even though you're a vampire, Dwarven Magic users. That would be 5th edition because you couldn't do that in any other edition. Maybe 4th. I don't remember.
I mean, you could do it in RuneQuest because magic is accessible to literally everyone.
Well, you can't do it in Taslanta because dwarves don't exist.
True.
But yeah, in older D&D, dwarves specifically could never use
Which actually, in fact,
arcane magic.
I mean, Dwarven magic users that wouldn't be really. I mean, I guess you could say they're all Dwarven sorcerers, I guess. But since everybody has magic, it's not like you'd be super special.
Right. And the other thing about that argument would be you could just play 2024 6th edition D&D and play Dwarven mages. And guess what? It doesn't matter because races don't matter in 5e anymore.
No, they don't.
When you make your character, you get to pick wherever you want your attributes to be. So it doesn't even matter.
I mean, it didn't really matter in most of 5th edition, I'd say. It did somewhat matter race-wise, but
In the original, it mattered.
I'd still
Double
say
D
in
drop.
yep. I'd say in
Double
original
D
5th edition,
had the
it still
drop.
wasn't that much of a difference between them.
No, like in the original, humans got like to add bonuses to the attributes of their choice, which was kind of good.
Like, I mean, original 5th edition, before they just decided, oh, you could just make your race anything and just say you put your points anywhere.
007, I will answer that for you. Which, by the way, are you one of Condor's followers or what? What's up with you? But, or are you just a Chris Perkins fan and me making fun of Chris Perkins offended you?
Look, 007, if you want to play something not so limiting, play RuneQuest.
Yeah, RuneQuest. There are games you can play. The thing that you're missing, 007, and I would say this is probably because you're a young man, is that the restrictions in older versions of D&D are what make those versions good. The fact that it matters, right? 5e, since they took away basically every restriction, has turned the setting into sludge.
Nope. He had to jump because he couldn't hear you, James.
Diversity, yeah, couldn't hear. That's
Yeah.
weird.
He could hear me, though. I don't know why.
I want a dwarven wizard, D&D first ed. No. Yeah, exactly. Do you know why? Because dwarves get a massive bonus to their magic save because they're basically super non-magical. It's in the setting. It's not like just arbitrarily the short guys can't use magic. There's a reason for it.
And it makes
if
it more
your dwarf
interesting.
has like a con of like +4, you get like +4 versus magic attacks and shit. It's
I mean,
insane.
It makes it more interesting, too, because then there's actual real-life differences in the races, which makes them more fun to play.
Exactly.
That's what I hated about
and
Fifth
that is
Edition.
what
It
I
was
think a
not
lot of 5e players get confused about. They think restrictions are bad. But no, the restrictions actually make the game better. And now it's better. It's not better though. Because you're like one of the few people on the channel that's actually happy with modern D&D. Most people, Double D, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah,
There we go.
loud and clear.
We can hear him clear as day here.
Woo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now
I want
you
to.
can play a dwarf wizard.
Yeah, I did want to
Why
say.
should
I
go
don't.
ahead?
I don't particularly like that 007 guy, but I will say, if you are playing a lawful evil character, if you're going to go down that road, they should almost be indistinguishable from a lawful good character for most of the time. There are certain instances where you're going to be tested, but for the most part, you should be on board with just about everything the group is going to do. It's just at certain times you're going to make a key decision that's either going to, screw the group over, backstab them, which begs the question, why do you even want to be in the group to begin with? Are you the type of player that you just want to have the focus always on you, for that one moment where you can gloriously, kind of say, ha ha, I gotcha. Well, I mean, that's fine for your character, but if you're playing in person with a group, they're going to be like, oh, well, gee, thanks, asshole.
Basically.
I don't like it.
Yeah. So it's like, I did have one of these guys in my group, and he did do it the right way. And he left the group before he could, really like screw him over. So actually I have nothing but kind of like good memories of that character. But in the same respect, I can see where it can go haywire pretty fast. And it's just not good. I mean, the game is not set up to be, for evil characters. It just isn't.
I would concur with that entirely. I also agree with, now I can do whatever I want. Yeah, that doesn't make the game better. If anything, it makes it worse because, again, instead of the rich setting where, different things made a difference, and your choices actually had consequence, you are now playing a game where none of that matters.
Yes.
None of that matters.
The one race the one class that I see the biggest problems with is the paladin, because they've always got to do that lawful good action while everybody else is like, I want to do this.
Well, in 5e, paladins don't even have to worship God, so
No, I don't like it.
What?
yeah,
They don't have to.
you can be a Greyhawk paladin and be an atheist because you get your paladin abilities from your inner code.
I'm trying to work that out in my mind. How you become a paladin, because you're sanctioned by a church. You have clerical spells. You have to have a deity that you devote yourself to. That doesn't make any sense.
If you're gonna do an evil character, you should build sort of into it, or at least have in your mind some sort of redemption arc to be like, okay, I can either the party or myself, I can get out of this, rut or whatever I'm in. Otherwise, there's nowhere you could go. It reminds me of the old Hulk Hogan thing. When they'd come to him like, oh, hey, Hulk, I have this great idea. You're gonna lose and do all this, and his response would always be, okay, and then what? And that should always be sort of in the back of your mind. Like, all right, I'm going to be evil. I'm going to do what I'm going to serve my own purposes. And even if I'm playing it good, at some point, I'm going to screw everybody over. And then what? What happens then?
Then you make a new character because...
Yeah.
Again, 007, yeah, okay, you can make a lawful evil character work with, like, good characters sometimes, but nobody's going to like your character or want to be around your character.
Well,
so what do you do about that?
I think what Double D has said should have in a sane world answered every question that Oh Boy is saying. Double D just said it.
Yeah.
You can play lawful evil, but eventually you're going to do the evil thing. Then what?
Yeah.
Then what? What happens after you betray the party
even
or
then,
do some shady shit?
Even then, though,
Then what?
I think a lot of people won't trust the person who wants to play the lawful evil guy in the
Well, you
group.
don't know he's lawful evil until he does something.
That's fair. Maybe he does. You don't know.
Unless there's a paladin in the group and then he's caught out. Right.
And that, or it's a lawful evil paladin who just flat out tells you.
Lawful evil paladin. See, not in my game.
Not in your game.
Paladins are always human and they're lawful good.
Well, I mean,
Don't
maybe
dare
you
have
could
a
look at an
17
anti-paladin or something.
or charisma.
So is 007 young or old? Because he keeps saying I played in the 80s, 90s. He sort of reminds me of that guy, L. Whatever happened to him?
L died.
Oh, did he really?
Yes, he passed away. He had been sick. He was on hospice for like the last 6 months he was posting.
Oh, okay. I guess that explains why I haven't seen him. Okay.
The only one who really talked personally with him was Shadow.
Okay.
But see, 007, I don't know much about him, but in the one video where you got super mad at me for talking shit about Chris Perkins, he called me an old man and said that like my opinions didn't matter. I'd be dead soon.
Yeah, he did the same with me too, James. Yeah, that's why he's either a troll. He doesn't seem like a true troll because he definitely has thoughts. And my only thing, 007, is do you want to hang around here and sort of, kind of be part of the group and try to fit in just a little bit? You don't have to agree with us 100%, but Jesus Christ, if you want to come here and just act like a complete spazzo, it's going to get old. Just like your lawful evil character, it's going to get old, and then what? All right,
And
so I
then
come in.
what? Yeah.
I come into every stream and act like an asshole, and then what? All right, well, eventually we're going to get tired. And I'll just hide you from my channel. And James will, may or may not do the same thing, but it's like I'd rather have your opinions and you not acting like a complete dipshit.
Well, I've only banned somebody for like just spamming, like some stupid shit over and
Yeah.
over and over again. And
Generally,
that
I do that, but in the same respect, it's like
generally
I don't.
ban a guy for disagreeing unless.
Oh yeah, I have plenty
Actually,
that,
there's no
that
one
disagree with me, and it's like it's fine. But like you said, if it's just ad nauseum, and then they go from like video to video, and they say the same fucking thing, and it's like okay,
And
it's
it
like-
reminds me of Condor.
yes, exactly. And people get this notion like, oh well, you're for free speech. And it's like, brother, this is my house. I wouldn't let somebody come in my house, and call my wife, a bitch and a C word and me an asshole in the middle of my living room. I'd kick him out.
Right.
It's like I have no obligation to fucking, entertain you if you're just going to be consistently a jerk. And it's like people don't understand that. It's like I don't fucking care. But yes, I will let people disagree with me. There's a guy, Will Huff, who comments on a lot of my videos. He's a lefty. He disagrees with me a lot, but he's respectful and he likes some of the stuff I do. So, it's like, yeah, we get into it, but it's like, it's cool. But if the only thing you're doing is coming in and saying you're old and stupid, and then you just say it ad nauseum, it's going to get fucking tiring.
Well, in addition to that, it's like, yeah, he is. I mean, if 007 was Condor, I would just rather he use the Condor thing, because I'm not afraid to talk to Condor. I'd be
He's
nice.
he's beyond redemption.
And Garby has been on my channel, and when he was on my channel, he was nice.
I'd love to have him
He
on.
tried to be a dick, but then I was like, come on. And then next thing you know, he was nice. We were chatting about shit. It was
For as much as we take the piss out of him, like we don't hate Scott. I mean, he's got some whack takes, but I have, I don't wish anything but the
Nobody
best
hates
for him.
Scott Garby.
Yeah.
Why
It's like, how
would
could
hate
you? Yeah.
Scott Garby.
Yeah. So he's entertaining. I like going through his videos. We have a good time, and we think it's all in good fun. And I mean, he has to know too. It's not like malicious.
Yeah, I take the piss out of him, and I have for years, but I've also always told him he could always be on my channel with me anytime. And whatever. I mean, yeah, Scott Garby's not a bad guy. And Condor could be a good guy if he just calmed the F down.
See, I think he's beyond redemption. I think he is something happened to him like early on. Like this mistrust he has, or like this cutting people out. Did you see that video like we looked at where he said if people cross him, he's done? To me, that's like disturbing.
Yeah,
Like he takes pleasure in that shit.
I talked to him about it.
Yeah, I heard about it, and that makes me sad because I am a huge fan of redemption arcs.
Yeah.
Like, which is why what you said about the lawful evil character, but he's got a redemption arc, and eventually he's gonna, maybe find the light. And I would love that story.
And I'm not even saying have a huge backstory. I'm just saying do it organically. Something comes up in the campaign, like, oh, if this happened, it could kind of make me see the light.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love that. That would be so good. Garby doesn't hate me. Now, Condor seems to hate everyone.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Garby does not hate. I don't think Garby hates anyone, really.
Scott, I think, has a mean streak in him. Like he occasionally, it's like when Bilbo grabbed for the ring in like Lord of the Rings. Remember
Right.
for that 1 second? That sometimes Scott will let the mask slip, and just like that. So I think he does have like an undercurrent of anger, but I think in general he tries to be a decent guy.
Right.
I think he's got a lot of work to do, just like all of us, me
Right.
included. But in the same respect, yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy. He has some really weird takes. I don't know what his angle is. I don't know if he's trying to get a job at Wizards of the Coast because
Which won't ever happen.
yeah, I know he carries so much water for them, and it makes no sense.
Right. And what's especially hilarious is he'll make a video talking about how much he hates basically every game that's not Wizards of the Coast D&D version, and then he'll make another video and talk about all the like non D&D games he plays and how much he loves them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I mean,
This seems a little schizophrenic here. Do you hate them or not?
but I have heard from somebody who gamed with him that he does have a temper. He is the kind of guy that might get mad and flip a table.
Yeah, we probably share that guy.
Condor's got issues.
Yeah,
But
oh yeah, Condor is.
hope that he gets over his issues and can rejoin society and everything like that.
So look, some people just like to they like to fit out rather than fit in. Like my buddy Rogan. I love him. And in the real world, he's completely different. He's like the sweetest, nicest guy. He's a big bear of a guy, but you will never find a nicer guy give you the shirt off his back. But every character that Rogan plays is the lone wolf, loner, outsider. I want to fit out rather than fit in, and it drives the rest of the group crazy. And as a DM, it drives me crazy sometimes because you don't always have to do that. There's nothing wrong with harmony in the party. There doesn't always have to be tension. Sometimes it can crop up, sure, but it doesn't have to be built in.
Seth Skorkowski did a whole video about edgelords. Ultra American tabletop role player. Okay, to answer Double D here, or not Double D. Oh boy, Garby makes videos about how you guys make fun of him. Well, I mean that's being on YouTube. People talk shit about each other. Whatever.
Yeah.
What's funny is you guys are all the same. We're not, and love old school. Not all of us. As a matter of fact, I play the One Ring currently, and before that, I played Masquerade 5th edition. But I do love AD&D. Not sure what's the deal. Anti-woke, maybe. I can only speak for me. Insensitive, not at all. I'm very sensitive to the feelings of other people. Right wing, extreme right wing. I'm so right wing that people on the right wing look at me and they're like, Jesus Christ, what's going on with that guy? But that I think has more to do with the fact that I'm Russian Orthodox than any political thing. So yeah, I'm very conservative and I don't like new things because most new things. Hey, there's Bear. What's up, Bear? I hope your voice is better. Yeah. Because most new things suck. Right? Like AD&D works just fine. You didn't need anything after that.
It's been sort of proven.
Yeah.
Like as time has gone on, like I know like 5e is popular, but it's like there's this DM crisis. Every class is this sort of kind of the same. They can all use magic practically. I don't understand the appeal now. That my eyes have been open, but I do understand, having played 5e for a while, that the core of it is a fair game. If you like getting the dopamine hit like every level, and as a DM, you don't mind pulling your hair out to try to challenge the players, because they will be able to roll through. If they are at all strategic, they will roll through everything you have set up for them.
I don't even know who Bull Connor is. So, I mean, and I'm generally a history guy, but I don't know anything about Bull Connor. However, did anyone start a timer to see how long before Connie drops the next video bitching about the old school attacking him? I don't know. It'll happen. But I mean, old school me. Dude, during the whole 90s, I was a vampire LARPer goth dude with black painted nails, a labrae piercing. So you don't know me, fool. You just disown me? Cool.
You don't know me. You
Right?
don't know me.
I don't need your assistance. So show persistence. Any problems I got, I just stick my fist in. Anyway, so fire hoses, black people. Well, I was a firefighter, so we did used to have this thing where we'd go to a playground in the black neighborhood and we put the tower up and spray down, and all the black kids would come out and play in the water. We used to call it the homie hose down.
Oh god, James, I got an idea for a D&D game now. It's a bunch of wizards who are a fire team trying to save the town through firefighting.
Yeah, there's an anime. Come on.
Well,
Are you
this
all
is a
by
medieval
yourself?
setting.
Are you all by yourself?
We're not talking about modern day firefighter magic. We're talking
We're
about
there.
old school firefighter magic. We need an AD&D game about this.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, of course, Bear is your typical Canadian, so
Your fire truck
a
would be
lot, yeah.
Tensor's floating disc. I think you have a spell to make towers. I'm not sure. And then you got create water. So there. See,
my biggest problem with 5e, and I think other people have said it very well, is by removing all of the restrictions, they have basically created this flavorless mush
yeah.
where nothing matters. And then people want to role play games where their characters go to the prom, work as baristas at coffee shops, and that shit is not fun.
No.
But in a setting where starting out, dwarves cannot use arcane magic, that's a lot more fun because the restrictions are what makes games fun. Not the bullshit. I can do everything all the time. How you doing, Bear?
Oh, life is but a dream.
Life is but a dream. Yeah.
My problem with 5e is when at first I heard that literally anybody can have magic.
9 out of 12.
There's no limit.
9 out of the 12 classes, at least in 5e, could cast some sort of magic. That's preposterous.
And there's subclasses that could help those classes that don't cast magic.
Yep.
So there's not really many that don't have any magic.
Oh, I know, but I can't do anything about it.
Well, if everyone has magic, then what's the point of anybody having magic?
Everybody's special, then no one's special.
Well, I mean, RuneQuest has everybody have magic, but there's different types of magic.
RuneQuest Glorantha, everyone has magic. Other versions of RuneQuest, like the Avalon Hill version, got rid of that nonsense and made it more logical.
I asked Merles.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Avalon Hill still had everyone have certain types of magic. It's just,
The version I have, which is 6th edition, if you want magic, you have to learn skills.
But there's no classes in RuneQuest.
Yeah, there's no classes in RuneQuest.
Right.
And that's why D&D, and I've always said this, as much as you like the flavor, it's like McDonald's, you crave it all the time, is baby mode RPGs. Because there's classes and little niches for you, and I'm the thiefy guy, and I'm the fighty guy, and I'm the healer, which is fantastic. But eventually your palette might expand a little bit, and you'll start playing other games where they don't pigeonhole you.
Oh boy, I gotta answer this one. And it's basically politics are boring. Well, that's all 5e is. 5e is awesome. I'm glad you're having fun. 5e characters are defined by their build. Anytime a role-playing game says build, I'm automatically like, that's garbage.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Whereas you say personality, but you're absolutely wrong, because in 5e, you're playing the numbers on the character sheet.
You're not playing
right?
You buy your personality in 5e. Oh, I'm a tiefling.
Right.
That's my personality.
I'm a tabaxi, act like a house cat. Well, I sit at the mage's house and I knock over a potion. Tee-hee-hee, I'm a naughty cat. Fuck off.
Right. In 1e and 2e, what makes the characters different is the way you play them.
But
fighters, and they might be sort of the same, but the player makes the character come alive.
Let me interject on that real quick.
Interject.
Because I am not a 5e hater. I think 5e, the core engine of 5e is fantastic. It's a really good iteration of the mechanics.
It works for what it does.
It's all the shit they added on top of it that makes it a bad game. right?
Right.
It's all the subclasses. You don't need fucking subclasses. Kick subclasses the fuck out of your game. If there's one of the subclasses you really like, turn it into a full class. Do the legwork like we used to in the old days, and then have that option available for players. But more important than that, ignore all their Forgotten Realms fucking fantasy Seattle Waterdeep bullshit.
Oh God, yeah.
And make your own fucking setting, or go grab a real setting online somewhere and play that. Don't make your Dragonborn. You don't want Dragonborn? Don't have Dragonborn. You want to have Dragonborn? Make them the way you want. You want to have Tieflings? Do what you want. There's literally millions of words of expanded material out there from both published and fan sources that will allow you to do anything. So don't ever feel like you can't play 5e or you have to play 5e the way they tell you to play 5e. Like any version of Dungeons and Dragons or any role-playing game, do it
Hey,
your
Jay-
own way.
Hey James,
Yes.
I have something to share. Do you want to throw it up, and then I'll probably get out of here.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it.
I just wanted to throw up what Oh Boy said, because that sounds so much like
Wow, he's just trying to pick a fight, James. Don't feed the troll, man.
that is a Gareby saying. I mean, like
He's all right. He's just a fucking troll. Then
in
fucking.
Brazil,
If that's the way you want to be, oh boy.
Yeah, look, he's just trying to pick a fight with the insults and all that kind of stuff. This is Condor level arguing. Ignore it.
So
Not
where do
like
you?
powerful characters. It has nothing to do with that,
Just
because your
ignore
characters
him.
are
You're
not
feeding
powerful
him.
in the world that they exist in.
Where do you
this
go?
game. Stop. Don't feed
Okay,
him.
okay.
007. Where do you go from here? Are you just going to be the guy that shows up and just I'm the 5e lover and the old guy hater?
I mean, if that's what he wants to be, let him be. Let him be. Agrim
yeah.
is around in the waiting room, it looks like.
Who is Agrim?
I don't know.
But yeah, Bear, with what you were saying, yeah, my most fun I've ever had in 5e were in homebrew settings with my friends.
Of course.
Amen.
I mean, the first 3 books are okay. I just never used any of the optional rules. You know what I mean?
Like the Magic Punk setting that we had, where I got to start gang wars and have fun.
No, I don't like feats in 5e. And what's weird is in 1e, I use proficiencies.
I'm a fan of feats. I think they allow customization of characters that provide differences of behavior and action in game. I think they're wonderful. When they become all your fucking character is about, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, Oh Boy said his piece. He loves 5e and thinks every other version of the game sucks.
Oh,
balls.
it's the guy from India.
Agrim's your buddy from India.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Namaste, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, I added him in. He should be in here somewhere.
Yeah, you got to change the screen layout now to where it's all like 6 boxes.
Yeah. Let's see. Would this work? Boom.
There's the other one you can do, which is the first one, I think.
Yep. Let me find
There.
it. That one.
And I murdered my cat. Ah, Jesus Christ! Reprobate attack.
Jesus Christ, you have to break everybody's screen, James?
There's that one.
No, I'm bugging
There we
you,
go.
There we go. There we go. How you doing, Agrim?
I'm doing great.
Okay,
What about you?
I see somebody was capping on 1E, and they need to.
I
play
don't
more
even care. Let them cap on 1E. There. You
let
know
them
what?
play
Double
1E
D,
a couple
Double
times.
D's right. It's becoming apparent that this is not a person you can speak to.
Nope.
Like, it's like you can't convince a cultist not to be a cultist, and you can't convince these people not to be the way they are, because they're not thinking rationally about anything. They're just arguing, hey, my version of the game's better because I can do all these things. And it's like,
Because all the icky old people don't play it.
yeah, all the icky old
It's like,
people
oh, there
don't
you
play
go.
it.
All right. If that's the case, and what are you doing on an icky old person cast?
And as a Nicky old person, I ran 5e for like 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah,
I
same
ran
here.
for a year and a half.
Yep.
We had a great
James,
time.
James, can you share that? On the side, it's a thing from Merle's. Get rid. First of all, get rid of that dope's chat. So the
Okay,
screen's
hide
better.
that.
Do you see it on the
then-
side? Is it on the side there, maybe? Or
No, you'd have to like send it to me as a private.
You have to
message.
share your screen down at the bottom where it has
Yeah,
that
you
little
gotta
monitor.
share
With
I
the
did.
arrow.
I did share it. It should be down there.
Okay, then you have to click to add it, James.
Okay.
You just have to add it like you would a person.
It's you're going to see that little thing that has the square with the small window. You have to click on that.
Yep,
and it makes
there it
come up.
is. Yeah.
'Cause I'm an icky old person. I don't know how technology works, and I'm afraid of young people and their feet.
Their feet. Is this it? We'll see.
There we go.
Uh,
Wrong screen, but you're getting closer.
That's your
Okay.
screen. Don't worry about it if it's going to cause issues. I'll
Well,
tell you.
if it's from
I'll tell you what I'll do.
Merle's,
Is I'll just read it. I'll just read
yeah.
it.
okay.
All right. So this is I asked Merle's.
Right.
Okay. I said, Mike, what are your feelings on the rogue getting permanent backstab for all intents and purposes? If you having an ally within 5 feet of a common enemy is not exactly a hard ask for most combats. I said this has made the rogue frontline fighters, especially when you have interception, protection, healing word, etc. And I said, why did rogues go from PCs who strike from the shadows and then go back to them to those who stand toe to toe, blow for blow with the enemies? And Merle said, very honestly, I think it highlights a design challenge in a world where most people come from video games. This is the guy who essentially was the lead designer on 5e. Players expect to use their cool trick, and the game's math expects it too. It definitely pushes the game from strategic to tactical. 5e rogues are much more gray mouser than earlier editions. I'm not even sure I'd agree with that assessment there. But there you have it. This is all like dopamine hit video game stuff we've sort of been getting kind of in with like 3rd edition, but certainly 4th and 5th as well.
But he's not wrong in the sense of the Gray Mouser comment in that rogues are not thieves. They're light fighters now. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
speed fighters. Like it's okay. It's like the East German, or now the German, but it was at the time the West German. Sorry, the West German SWAT teams. There were the big, heavy, armored guys with shields and the whole 9 yards, and then there were the little light guys with bomber jackets and sneakers, and their job was to run you down if you broke from the crowd. Well, that's the same sort of mentality that's applied here. You're right; they're just fighters of another color, but they at least have a different thing. to do.
Yeah, they should be thieves. They should be fighters of a swashbuckler or whatever.
Yes.
You know, fight with it should be another kind of a fighter. They shouldn't be the thief who's good at robbing people, picking their pockets, opening traps, stuff like that, and who can occasionally is good for like a one use. Like I'm going to come out of the shadows, get this guy under the ribs because that's how I learned it in the gutters of the capital city.
Or better
You know,
yet,
comes
I'm just
from
a piece
behind
of
and-
shit with no honor, and the minute I see someone turn their back on me, that's when I
Yes.
strike, when I can get that kidney shot in.
Exactly, that's a thief to me.
Monday. I'm doing
DPS, what does that mean? Dots per second? No more dots.
Damage.
No more dots. I know what it means. I'm just fucking with them.
Well, I'm gonna really put my geekness out there. The thing with the rogue comes from EQ.
EverQuest.
Yep.
Request, yeah.
In EQ, the original one, if somebody was playing a thief for rogue, their whole deal was facing an enemy. They didn't do hardly very good damage at all. But if you could have a tanking that enemy and keeping it looking at him, the rogue could run around behind and do massive damage. They were DPSers. You see what I mean? And that would be what, like in the 90s? We're talking like 94, 95. That's how their EQ rogue worked. So like you would have a warrior. I played a barbarian or a dark elf shadow knight. You would have an enchanter casting power over time on the cleric, and then the cleric would be casting heal over time on the tank. And then as long as his tank always kicked and taunted, hopefully you kept the monster looking at the tank. And then it would actually be the rogue that would kill the monster. Because your tank would hit for like 70 points of damage. Your rogue would hit for like 1,000.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
I mean, you should.
that's
The
where
thing
that
is, in a straight up fight, the rogue should not be overshadowing your fighter. Your fighter is a trained combatant. Doesn't matter if he's going 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 or 1-on-2 or whatever. He should be the best in the group at fighting front line. Instead, at like 5th level in the new version, you've got the rogue doing. Let's face it, he's going to take the rapier because it's 1 die 8 and it's finesse. So you can get the +3 to hit, the +3 to damage, plus die 8, plus 3 die 6 every turn. Every turn that there's another guy occupying within 5 feet of that combatant, and you'd be a fool if you didn't. So it's like the only thing the rogue doesn't have going for it is the hit points, but that can be easily overcome.
It's like in 4E where all the power rogues use like dual wielded kukri knives. Because it was basically an agility dagger, but it did die 6 damage. So
I mean, it's
4.
They should. I'm big into them not overshadowing.
Blah 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 in D&D. I don't like builds. Rogues aren't better now. You think they're better, but that's again opinion.
My longest surviving 2nd edition character was a thief.
Right.
Because I stayed the fuck out of the line of fire, snuck around, took my moments to backstab people, and then fucking predatored my way back into the shadows like you're supposed to.
Exactly.
Well, plus every
Amen.
group wanted a thief in the party because they're the ones that pick the locks, find the traps, do all that sort of stuff, can stealth and sneak ahead and see what's going on and let you, scout around.
Can I just let me explain? I'm explaining it to you because I used to teach my classes this when I would explain to them the difference between Superman and Batman and why Batman took over in popularity. It's the exact same thing. Once upon a time, when we watched movies, the big heroic knight, whatever that character represented in whatever genre, was the man, the guy that you all wanted to be, the guy that kicked ass, took names, the Schwarzenegger character, whatever you want to say. The one that led the fucking challenge. And then the 90s, the little soy boy, bitchy, smart-ass, quipping guys became the hero, and it hasn't stopped since then. It's like Superman versus Batman. And the problem is that we've completely lost appreciation for the noble, upfront hero who saves the day, the Mad Mardigan, if you will, the character that puts his life on the line and stands on the front line. We don't want that anymore. We want the quipping, sneaky, always has a, flippy, bippy-doo. It's fucking exhausting. It is an overwritten trope at this point in time, and we need to move on from it. But video game kids and what have you are still stuck in that world where they're not a big, tall, muscular guy. They're not an athletic guy. So this little flippy, smart, snarky, smart, stab in the back, do thing character, they can really identify with that. They can identify with Batman because Batman's rich and has no fucking principles, but they can't identify with a noble person who takes the time to put their nobility at the front, not compromise their values, and always see it through to the end. They don't want Captain America, they want Tony Stark, and that's where we're stuck.
I was some girl at work asked, like, her and her boyfriend, they're going to get married and have kids. She said, she said, if we have kids, what advice would you give? I said, if you have a boy, make him drink milk, whole fat milk, get him addicted to it. I said, do you want your kid to be 5'6" or, like me, 6'4"? And I know there's one guy, and he's an okay enough guy, but he's like a real liberal, a real kind of a kook, like politically. I could tell he was just like rolling his eyes. And I'm like, there's your fucking proof. Because if you're 5'0", you want the rest of the world to be 5'0". You don't want to have to look up at somebody who's 6'4". So it's a lot easier for you instead of just realizing, look, there's going to be people bigger than me. And that's, just the way it is. You want everybody to be down to your level.
But this is why when you watch 13th Warrior, that trope finds its other leg, which is the character who is the mentor to Ibn, the shorter guy, the smallest almost of all the Vikings, but he has the most heart and he fights the hardest and he is completely a noble guy, even though he's not 6'8" like Bulgar. He's still a great fighter.
Yeah, the guy in the Lamlar armor that's like older.
Yeah. That's on him if you wish. That guy, he's amazing, but he is still not a rogue. He's a warrior.
And he's always laughing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it doesn't, I mean, look, I'm 6'3", you're 6'4". I was a bouncer. We've done all kinds of crazy shit in our lives, right? We've all been there.
Oh,
But I've
look
known
at
tons
this
of guys who are smaller and can still have that heart inside them. You just have to want it, see it, and value it.
Yep.
Young people today are physically stronger and can fight better.
Yeah, bite my ass.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Bite
If Mike
my
Tyson
ass.
Not
in
my
his
experience.
prime will kill any of these guys.
I once saw Soy Boy 2014 get his arm grabbed by a bouncer, and we heard the spiral fracture happen. And he screamed like a little bitch and then sat on the corner waiting for the ambulance with his retarded feminist girlfriend crying like a fucking baby.
I'm starting to think I'm starting to take 007 a lot less seriously. If he thinks anyone doing anything today is better than Ali or
Oh my God. Go
Foreman
back
or
further. Go
Tyson
back
in
to
his
fucking Joe
prime,
Frazier. Go back to Smoking Joe.
Frazier,
Sonny Liston.
Guys that could deliver their full force of a punch in a 12-inch move. You think a little fucking bouncy fucking... Oh, fuck off. Jesus, this guy. Dude, 070 boy,
I mean,
you're
of
a
course,
fucking
as a
troll.
white
and a
guy, I
bitch
gotta
now.
bring up I gotta bring up what's his name? Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, he was a hell of a fighter.
I mean, as a white guy, you got to bring him up if you're going to talk about boxing. It's like a rule. I learned it from watching Coming to America.
I know, you got to talk about fucking Butterbean. That's the new white guy you got to
Butterbean, that
talk
big
about.
fat bastard would just roll in and knock people out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know nothing about MMA. You're right. I
You
know
don't
nothing
know
about
anything
martial
about
arts. I know
MMA.
nothing about fighting other men. I know none of these things. You are 100% correct, 007. I'm just a big pussy sitting here wishing I could be cool
The
like
greatest
that.
MMA fighter of all time was Hoist Gracie.
Mhm.
That was 30 years ago. And he quit fighting because he won too much. No one could beat that guy.
He says take a lightweight champ and put him against a 70s boxing champ. Are you talking like different weight classes?
Yeah. Which boxers themselves refuse to do because of the beating they know they'll take.
Yeah,
This guy's a fucking couch
modern
potato.
lightweight
Ignore
champ
him.
against Ali is dead.
Jesus, James, I was in such a good mood, and then I joined your chat, fuck, and now I'm all riled up and ready to fight. God,
007. How could you?
This is how I feel sometimes.
George Foreman is 6'4", 220. You know, when he won in the 90s, he's probably more like 230.
The hardest
It's hard-
hitting man in boxing at the time.
It's like
And maybe of all
in
time.
boxing, not MMA, but like how could you get any more powerful than that guy?
And then he's forgetting about MMA when you had Severin, Gracie, freaking Fry. I mean, guys that would literally just kill your ass. You know, it's like,
Now, listen, all these kids today do their BJJ, which does sound like something you pay $25 for at the right bar. And basically, they think they're the God's gift of fighting. They don't understand street fighting. They don't understand what a real fight is between two men who are trying to kill each other. They don't get it. They only understand the show. And that's what they always think, that these guys are badasses. But you know what the real badasses don't do? Fight.
shit.
The real badasses don't talk shit, and they don't fight unless they have to. And when they have to, the fight is over in 30 fucking seconds.
Well, see, now I can no longer.
I agree with you.
Feed the troll. Everyone's coming to the conclusion, because how can you take a guy serious that says, if Hoist Gracie fought today, he wouldn't be nothing. It's like
P is in P, S is in S. Fighters back then were a lot dirtier than they are these days.
a lot
Yeah,
less
man.
rules.
You know, one of my favorite things I ever saw in my life, just off of fighters, we're talking about old guys. You guys know who Gordie Howe was, the hockey player?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
Gordie Howe winds up, and I think it's in his 50s or his 60s, he winds up playing this one exhibition game in like an AHL or something, a professional league, but not the NHL. And he does it just so he can then say he played professional hockey 5 decades in a row. They go to the interview with this big guy who's on the other team. I can't remember his name. And they're like, how do you feel? You're going against Gordie Howe. He's like, I have a lot of respect for Gordie. I mean, he's really a legacy to our sport. And, we're going to be playing hockey. And if I have to hit him, I'm going to have to hit him. But, I really respect what he's done. Then they go to the interview with Gordie and they're like, how do you feel about this big guy who's got a record? He goes, he gets fucking near me, I'm going to carve his fucking eye out. Boom.
But you know what? It is how do I want to say it? What is it? What did my grandfather call it? It's the speed of violence. Way back in the day, it was like, they're coming to get you, and you were going to get them. It was the person who was going to get the first hit in, and the most violent hit to get the upper hand as fast as possible.
Oh yeah.
That was the rule.
First to the punch. Yep.
My father taught me when I was a young man. He goes, listen, there's no such thing as a fair fight. There's no such thing as a gentlemanly fight. You're trying to hurt each other. So if someone is trying to hurt you, you fucking hurt them before they hurt you. Never start the fight, but fucking finish it. And I was like, okay.
Right. That's right.
You know?
That's what my dad taught me.
That's good advice.
007. This is what you become now. You're just content for us to farm. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah,
That's all you are.
Literally everyone else in chat is clowning on the guy and saying that he's just a troll. And as soon as everyone says that guy's just a troll, then now no one takes anything you say seriously.
Actually, I'm wondering if he has a chart beside his bed explaining what order to put his clothes on when he gets up in the morning. Oh, got to put the socks
Right. I
before
mean,
the
that's
shoes.
what he's done. He started out pretty good. Like, it was like, okay, let's hear what he's got to say. Okay, I don't disagree necessarily. But as the thing has gone on, he's reached a level of ridiculousness. We're
Guarantee he wears joggers. I guarantee you he wears joggers.
And it's like, and it's actually kind of sad, as an older guy that likes to mentor younger guys and be like, hey, you can be a better human being. You can be a better human being, man, because you've lost the script at this point.
Yep.
You know nothing.
At
least you could have called me Jon Snow. I mean, geez.
Yeah. Jesus. You're gonna do a burn, do it right. Otherwise, you just sound like
you're gonna do a
bitch.
burn. You gotta be like, nothing, Jon Snow. See, I'm gonna quote your
future president
with you anymore because you've went from the point where I wanted to argue with you to the point where I just think you're ridiculous.
James, I'm going to quote your future president by saying, "This guy, don't know, sad."
Yeah, sad. Maybe the worst of all time.
Maybe the worst person ever. Who knows?
Don't run. Well, I mean, in 15 minutes. I will be out of here, but what do you mean don't run? Geez, I can't tell. Like, if this, am I talking?
You've only been on for 2.5 hours, man.
Can you imagine if if this is just a chat bot that someone created to be an obnoxious fucking troll? That's where you never know, right? That's where we're heading.
That would be impressive. I'd be like, oh my God, that dude, he did his job.
But it's like, why are you simping for 5e on a channel in a group in a general sense that doesn't, we don't really play 5e?
Yeah.
Even though most of us have. I mean,
yeah, I played it. I ran it.
It was
okay for a while.
It's not like we're hating on it and we've never played it. We've all given it a try. And most of us have been kind of positive about early 5e.
Yes.
Sorry, I just love what Lord Mateus just said. That's fucking hilarious, man. Or Lord Mattius.
I saw some of my favorite streamers. Come to find out, it's a stream dedicated to. Well, we're just talking to the guy, but honestly, it's like, yeah. And Jose, I don't know what he's trying to win. It's not a debate.
Oh no! He's first place in the "I'm the dumbest idiot in this conversation" award ceremony. It's great.
He wants to know why we're ignorant of MMA, dude. This isn't an MMA specific channel. It's not a 5e specific channel. So
yes, but
why are you here?
He's a little bitch who has to idolize MMA so he can pretend he's a tough guy. You understand? I used to fucking turf guys like him on a regular on Fridays and Saturday nights. They're just fucking couch warriors. They're the worst fucking thing. And then one day they get their fucking bell rung by someone, and hopefully they smarten the fuck up.
That's the problem these days. They haven't gotten.
I know they don't.
They haven't gotten
anymore.
tuned up. Yeah, they
don't
been tuned
fucking fight. There's nothing sorts you out quicker than a swift jab to the dome.
Yep.
Well, I think Gen X is really the last.
The toughest ones are the ones that the fall. They say they're the toughest. They fall the fastest because they're that the unpredictability of your violence, Bear. You
Yeah.
remember how it is.
My favorite was like,
Stand
the
there,
bigger you are, the harder you fall. All right, come get it. Come get it. Like I can't tell you how many times I would look at a man in his eyes and just go, all right, let's see what you got. And watch the fire drop out of them suddenly when they realized, oh no, I'm fucking serious. You want to play? Let's fucking play. Like, it's amazing.
He says he cage fights. Jeez.
I'm sure he
I've had
does.
them sit there the same way, Bear. They sit there and they go, "Oh, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you. All right, hit me.
Yep.
Hit me. All right, I didn't move. Hit me again."
You know what the most badass thing I ever saw when I was a bouncer was? I used to work with this guy named Fitz, 6'8" Jamaican guy, built like a statue. Like, the guy was like, how do you work out that muscle, Fitz? You know, like, that's the kind of body he had. And we had these 4 guys in the bar, and there was one big guy, 2 medium guys, and a little guy. And the little guy was running his fucking mouth as hard as he could. And the big guy was just, looking ready for the fight. And then finally Fitz had enough. He leaned over to the big guy and he said, your friends, they're going to fuck me up. Maybe put me in the hospital. But I'm going to kill you. And then he just stood back. And the little guy goes, yeah, what's that? And the big guy goes, shut the fuck up. Yeah, right. And they left. And I was like, God damn,
Right.
Yep.
I believe, though, where 007 says he's a cage fighter, I believe it. Like, he's a cage fighter, like Kip in Napoleon Dynamite's a cage fighter. So he's always sitting around eating the chips and talking about girls online. It's like, damn, Napoleon, I'm training to be a cage fighter. A cage fighter. Whatever.
Fighting in the cage. Was it a rooster, a dog?
He's fighting
up,
hamsters
Bruce? How you
in a
doing, bro?
cage.
There's
He's
Doc.
fighting gerbils.
How you doing? We
Hey,
got
Doc.
9 minutes, guys, and then I got to get out.
Well, listen, if Doc wants to come in and talk to you, I'm going to bounce out and go have my supper. So,
I
Same
gotta
here.
go too. I'll see ya.
All
good
right.
night, guys. And 007, don't you ever change. You are the sunshine.
Oh, man. Well,
So much
interesting.
fun.
That was
Look at all
definitely
those guys, and
something.
now we just got 007 over here to he's gonna.
That's what I would call that. I would call that, well, that was something. That was definitely something.
Just waiting for my game and seeing how many right wingers Bill Strawman. Huh?
It's like, and also calling people right wingers, that's so 2016, guy. Come on.
You don't even know where I lay in the political spectrum. You're not even close.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, some people, since I said I was right wing, they're going to assume you're right wing because me and you are friendly. Because they can't conceive of the idea that we could be friendly and not agree on everything.
You mean we can have a civilized debate, James, and not be enemies?
The fact that you could be the most leftist guy on the planet from the north, and I could be the most right-wing guy from the south, and still talk about D&D and like each other, not possible. That's
But
not.
you even invited me to your house already, and I don't even know you personally. But basically, we've never met each other in person.
Right.
My God,
See, that's
I
the
invited you to
problem
my
with some of
convention.
these guys is they assume like Double D is not super right wing like I am, and I know for a fact that a lot of these guys aren't.
He's
Half
still
the guys
my
I hang out with could be atheist or Muslims or Hindi or whatever, and I'm Orthodox Christian. It don't matter to us.
Right.
We just want to talk about games.
And we can do it civilly. That's the difference. We don't need to call each other Nazis or
See, look.
racists or anything like that. We can sit here and talk civilly the entire
I still
time.
need to
And
look up who Bull Connor is.
Bull Connor.
See, he's saying he schooled us on fighting. I don't think you've ever been in a fight, bro. But Jeff.
I know it is. The
There's
violence of
always-
action.
Jeff, there's always that one dude. And of course, it's probably the guy with the wings on his chest. No matter what you say, he's got to be like, again, just because you had jump boots. Well, actually, it does kind of make you better than me, but still.
Who-
I mean, it's like I'm looking at what he just posted and I'm thinking, does it make you feel better, dude? Is your life so empty that the idea, and I'm not conceding that you've won anything, but the idea that you came on and supposedly won something, you know, that's going to make you feel good for the rest of your day. I mean, really, is that the thing? Because for me, I'm getting ready to have to get up and do a lot of housework and get ready for guests, and then we're going to be playing board games and shit.
You know, here's the problem. It's sort of like let's go take a modern thing that these kids can understand. That's like pitting LeBron James against Michael Jordan.
Oh,
How
yeah.
are you ever going to get the two of them in their prime at the same time and playing against each other? You're not.
Right.
So they have to use these statistics, and the game has changed. And you know, the rules have changed, and some parts of the game have changed. And come on, you know, I mean, it's Jack Dempsey now versus Muhammad Ali, or you know what I'm saying? You're you know, it's apples and oranges, and you're dealing with time. You know what I mean? There's too much time in there. So
Right.
I wish people would stop talking about that kind of stuff, you know.
However, one thing I will say to you, Vic, my friend,
Yes.
is I think MJ in his prime would smoke LeBron. And that's just me from having watched them both play. And I'm just like, MJ was just a threat from everywhere.
Right.
You couldn't do anything with him.
We can do this with numerous sports, though. We can go golfing. We can go Arnold Palmer or Ben Hogan versus Tiger Woods, or you know, one of these other
I don't
guys.
know. That might be close though. Palmer versus Woods could be kind of close.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that you've got these and let's say they have to play with one set of equipment. They both have to the same driver, the same
Everything.
gloves, the same everything. I'm here to tell you, I would go more with Arnold Palmer than I would with Tiger Woods, because now we got all this computer technology and everything else that you can get a club designed for the golfer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Specifically for the golfer. And
Yeah,
back then, everything was like
synthetic
mass
material
produced,
and
you know?
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Death Angel, I agree. And I'm not even like a Chicago fan at all. Back when I was a kid, during the huge Boston versus LA rivalry, I was Boston all the way. Bird and Parrish and all those dudes. It was like, yeah, come on.
Right.
But that don't mean I didn't love Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson's a great player too. I mean, you know, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the Skyhook. I mean,
All right. But
you know, those guys were just good players, you know.
and we are dealing with a different day and age. It's everything else. I mean, we've got all this technology now to make your bodies.
Well, they play a softer game
better.
now too, Vic.
What'd you say?
They play a softer game.
And we got technology now to make their bodies better. I mean, if they have a blowout an ankle or something like that, I mean, back then it might be a career-ending thing, but nowadays they've got all these surgeries and everything else to put everything back together correctly. You know, there's a whole disparity here. I mean, years of equalization. How are you going to equalize that and really compare it when, you know, I just don't see it. I would tend to focus on more of these guys from the old school than the new school, because it is a softer, easier game. Like Jack Dempsey, you know, the world famous fighter from 1920s, you know, when they really fought dirty. I mean, there, yeah, and the technology was.
Didn't that guy start out as like a bull on a train system, like beating the shit out of hobos and chucking them off trains or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, that guy was like a for real fighter.
Yeah, and they were doing it bare
Jose,
knuckle.
man, you are the man, though, Jose. I want you to know that.
And it was bare knuckle, a lot of it. You know what I mean? I mean, they do bare knuckle fighting back then, or limited padding and everything else. Nowadays, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well, plus, like, can you imagine these new players having to go up against like the Detroit Bad Boys from like the mid '80s, Mahone and that bunch? Just like as soon as you step in a paint, you're catching a foul, man. Just get out, But Celestial Mindset, if you're legit and not a bot, why not join the call and talk face to face? I don't even want to talk to the guy. He's not, it's like he's just saying stuff like he's going to get a reaction, but he's not, I'm a lot more worried about ending the stream now because it's been 2 hours before my wife gets pissy at me than anything he said. Because Vic,
you got more fear of the wife than you do anybody else right now.
Right. Because even though we play whatever versions of games we play, I mean, we got lives. So the link has been in the chat like 50 times, 007, but it's 2 hours. Right. And I give myself 2 hours. So you just say stuff and it's wrong. No, I said I'll end with this. I'm playing the One Ring by Free League. It's a great fantasy role-playing game. You will never prove that wrong. Saying that Hoist Gracie was not one of the greatest of all times is amazing to me. That guy won like the first 10 freaking Ultimate Fight competitions. I mean, it's like, whatever, man. And it's like you're arguing about shit that doesn't matter. That's the worst. It's like nothing you've said today actually matters to anyone. And if you start getting Double D kind of frustrated with it's like, really? Because that guy is chill as shit.
I haven't even really read anything he said, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He went from the let's hear what he's got to say and respond to the I just don't give a shit what he thinks now.
Yeah.
And it's like a straw man.
Stop straw manning over here. Oh God. Technology, nutrition, and the rules and everything else. Come on. I mean, it has gotten a lot easier on players these days to come back from injuries and stuff. And you want to say that about somebody like Jack Dempsey, who did bare knuckle fighting, in an open air place in Billings, Montana, or somewhere like that against another guy.
Well, the thing is, he keeps saying straw manning. I don't think he knows what that means.
Yeah, I think he needs to check out the definition myself.
A 1999 chode. But anyway, peace and love, guys. 007. I hope you have a wonderful day. I really do. Vic, thanks for joining. Everyone who joined, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Agreem, I'm sorry we didn't get to talk too much. But maybe next one, right?
All right. And hey, peace out, James. Check it out. Talk to you later, man.
Yep. I have to go do some floors and toilets because I'm having guests come in from out of town. And so I don't know if you'll see me a lot online because it's like usually when these guests come in, we spend so much time just playing board games and stuff. And they're also part of my role-playing crew. So so much strawmans. Again, I don't think you know what that means. But we're going to end it there. Death Angel, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing great. I hope everything's awesome up there. Yeah, keep hating your whole life, LOL. Yeah, 007 definitely woke up and drank a big old glass of Haterade. Where are your MechWarrior Destiny videos? Jose, I will make one specifically for you. it just may be a minute because, like I said, if I don't get to the work I promised my wife I'd do, she might set me in a box at the end of the driveway. I mean, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. Got to keep her happy because she's a little Viking, and you know how it is. You don't want to get these little Vikings angry. But anyway, peace and love, all of you. I hope you have a wonderful